Take this job and shove it. I'm Michael Smerconish in Philadelphia. The Department of Labor reported only 266,000 jobs were added in April, which is much lower than anticipated, and the unemployment rate for the last month ticked up to 6.1%. You'd think the demand for employment would be higher, especially with more people getting country easing back restrictions. This is the front page of today's print edition of the New York Times. Tepid job growth inflames a debate over U.S. benefits. We're seeing examples play out all over the country. Job listings in sectors like manufacturing, live event production, restaurants, and construction are going unanswered, forcing companies to sweeten the pot. For example, a McDonald's in Butler County, Pennsylvania, is offering a $500 bonus upon hire. A McDonald's in Florida paying people $50 just to show up for a job interview. A Sonic in Albuquerque, New Mexico, a Chicken Express in Texas sported signs on their drive-through windows warning customers to be patient with them, given that, quote, no one wants to work anymore. And as concerts and live events resurrect after more than a year, the Wall Street Journal reports that roadies have taken their skills elsewhere, leaving venues worried they won't find people qualified to take their place. A restaurateur named Caleb in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, called into my radio program yesterday on Sirius XM to share his hiring struggles and how it's affecting his bottom line.
I literally turned down reservations. I cut off all takeout. I just left so much on the table because ultimately there's no way I could have given good service with the amount of staff. But I've literally spent over $1,000 on ads with Indeed in the last month. I have an ad out for weeks and get 2 applicants. I literally have 30, 40 servers in my phone that are not working and do not want to work.
So it seems the labor force wields all the leverage. Let's break down some of the numbers. Those receiving unemployment benefits get $300 a week from the federal government on top of state unemployment benefits, which the Labor Department says average $318 a week. So that's $618 a week in total on average, which equates to more than $15 an hour. That'll remain through September when the benefits are set to expire. Plus, of course, the 3 stimulus checks given out over the past year ranging from $600 to $1,400 each. It's worth noting, too, that to receive these unemployment benefits, people haven't been required recently to prove that they're actively looking for a job. Many states like Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Nevada, Idaho, trying to change that now, with South Carolina and Montana ending employment benefits altogether for its residents starting next month.
All right, Shalom. Giving all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah Kodash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of the great millstone. Peace and salutations unto the Achium, the brothers, pushing this truth through the 4 corners of the earth in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and the freedom to do so, now more so than ever. To the scattered, the speckled with Israelites who be scattered among the heathen, I say Shalom, and I say Shalom unto the few and faithful Akwat, the few sisters listening and learning. This is your brother Yerushalayim from GMS Prophetic Vibrations Camp out of Trinidad and Tobago, coming at you with another video through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakah Kodash. Now this video is going to be entitled, Babylon's Balm Ain't Working. She is not healed. Alright? Through, all these crises that is happening in terms of with respect to the economy of Babylon, currently the hiring crisis. Alright? They're trying to hire staff now in companies and they can't find the staff just ain't want to work. Alright? Basically they're saying the Department of Labor put out there that the job level is lower than expected, and more people taking even though the more people taking the waters, all right, and they're laying off on restrictions due to the thing, it's not stimulating people to return to work. All right, the various sectors, the main sectors in Babylon, which is America, the manufacturing, food, live events, talking about concerts, construction, all these things, companies know how to pay a premium for people who want to work for them. All right, they're actually paying bonuses, and payments just to make people turn up for the interview. So it is a level of desperation right now in Babylon, right? But and when you go into that word crisis, it means intense difficulty, So, we see, you heard earlier, in this video, that employers, they really have their advertising, spend a lot of money, and they're not getting the returns. All right. But basically, what we understand from this, we know that, we know basically that, this is really the elites, putting out this form of universal basic income, basically it's income, for not doing anything. All right. You don't have to satisfy any criteria and those things. And this is where they're really going, based on this. And there's a reason why they're doing it too. They're doing it to create a certain level of dependency on the state. All right. Because when you're dependent on the state, you're going to have to do exactly as they say, which eventually going to pan out in terms of taking the MOB. All right. That's basically what it's all about. That's basically what it's all about. So the small companies, they're not making any money, of course, which is a eventual plan of the elites, of Esau. They wanted all these small businesses to go out, and they now who run the major corporations of the world, major 147 corporations, they're going to be doing good, when they're going to be doing good, they're going to be able to ride the wave, ride the storm, as they say. All right. When you really understand, what they were going through, in fact, let me see if I can get that back.
Idaho, trying to the numbers to share his own a Chicken Express in Texas on. Take this.
See if I can find.
Correct. After more than a year, the Wall Street Journal report
For weeks and get 2 applicants.
wields all the leverage and says average 318 a week.
So if you see here, it says the federal government gave out 300 a week. The state 318 at 618 a week. Plus the stimulus checks. They haven't talked about having more stimulus checks in certain states. All right. So this people rather use this money, this enhanced unemployment benefits, plus the stimulus checks, and stay at home. They realize they're better off financially than going back to work. Because a lot of them would have had low income jobs, right? But based on the fact that they're home and they get this income, they're realizing it's more beneficial for them because they don't have to pay expenses like gas, things, transport, food purchases outside, childcare costs, all these things. So more people cooking than buying out, therefore, less business now for the restaurants, food industry, less businesses, less business all around, and this is a result of the fear that that basically the elites put on the people for the same thing that's going around the world. All right, the same thing, they fear that they get it, and then they lack the skill set for the available jobs, right? And the school's not open yet, so they have to take care of their children. So this is going to cause a serious problem in terms of the stimulation of the economy. All right. Because what they thought is that when they open this back, people will rush back to take back their jobs, but that's just not happening. All right, that's just not happening. All right, and basically the level of debt that Babylon has is not going to support any of this. In fact, all its stimulus money is based on debt. It's debt financing. That's really what it is. All right, with that, let's see if I can get a scripture here. Because really and truly, hey, Babylon is a mess, all right? And it's not going to get any better. It's just going to get worse from here. And let's get the book of Jeremiah, chapter 51, and verse 7. It reads, Babylon had been a golden cup in Yahweh Shai's hand that had made all the earth drunken. Why they were drunken? Because of the Bretton Woods system in 1944, all the nations, agreed to make the US dollar the premier currency of the world, the reserve currency. They were crazy to do that, right? And be part of this giant Ponzi scheme, which is the American economic system, all right? So Babylon had been a golden cup in Yahweh Shai's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunk enough of wine, therefore the nations are mad. So the Federal Reserve notes, which is a fiat currency, which means just calling the being with no backing, since 1971, no backing of gold, just real money, by the way, all right? And that's Yahweh Shai, money, that's his, according to Haggai 2:8, all right? Which always, real money always holds its value, all right? You having this money being artificially, the value being artificially deflated, by these devils. All right, they artificially manipulating the price of gold and silver. Meanwhile, they're buying it up and accumulating it. All right, but we'll get into that in a bit. All right, so the policies, the wicked policies the nations follow, basically buying and selling US dollars, taking part in the wicked system, which is funded by the IOUs to the Federal Reserve. All right, the management style, the whole beast system, which is the revised Roman Empire, the system of the revised Roman Empire. All right, so it says Babylon has been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that have made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of our wine, therefore the nations are mad. And we see that in all different ways, right? Verse 8 says, Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her. Take balm for her. And that balm is the stimulus money, right, that they pumping, the trillions of dollars that they pumping into the system. They're trying to ease the pain of Babylon, right? Because Babylon is in deep pain right now, all right? Because the economy is on the brink. It's circling the drain, all right? If so, she may be healed. All right. Verse 9 says, we would have healed Babylon, but she's not healed. She's not healed. All right. They pump all that money inside that stimulus money, enhanced employment benefits, stimulus checks. All right. The whole trillions of how much $1 trillion stimulus money, but she's not healed. No matter what they do, because this is Yahweh Hashem Yahushai taking them down. All right. The time has come. All right. Take balm for her pain, if so she may be healed. We would have healed Babylon, but she's not healed. Forsake her, and let us go everyone into his own country. For her judgment reacheth unto heaven and is lifted up to the sky. So all the countries, those merchants, they're going to retreat to their own country because they realize, hey, it have no future in here in Babylon. All right, talking about China, Japan, all these countries. There's no future here. All right, there ain't no future for them. All right, because why? According to Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, the cup is passing on, right, from Jake unto Esau. So Lamentations 4 and 21, it reads, rejoice and be glad. And this is for the all elites, you are to rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, that dwellest in the land of Uz. The cup also shall pass on to thee, the cup of what? The indignation and the wrath of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, which we've been having for the past 400 plus years. All right. Thou shalt be drunken and shalt make thyself naked, so all the wickedness and iniquity being exposed, as I say in 2 Thessalonians 2, unless the son of perdition will be revealed, and you being revealed in these times, all this secrecy, which was your strength, being uncovered, all right, your wicked ways, all right. The punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. You will no more carry thee away into captivity. You will visit thine iniquity, O daughter of Edom. You will discover thy sins. And this economic system, this whole wicked, oppressive economic system is part of the sins, part of the, how they use the system to destroy Jake, all right? Talking about all these, the payments they made for women, basically to keep the man out of the house, all right? The welfare system, all these things, they set these things up strategically to destroy us, all right? And that's the devilry of this ninja. All right, so what we're going on here right now is that all right, they are these small medium-sized companies now have to increase their wages, all right, which will reduce the profitability, of course, and eventually going to put them out of business, all right, because they wouldn't be able to cover expenses. Because when you understand business, you understand that the wages and the salaries are usually the highest expense in a business, all right, and there were already a lot of businesses which folded up in the past few years during the different, the different debacles, things that happen. All right. So hey, it's a mess. Babylon's really a mess. And the system of Babylon, the economy itself, is based on consumption. I believe it's 70%. From this video. Lord willing, I'll put it up in the description box. All right. 70% of the economy, the U.S. economy, is based on consumption, consuming, buying. All right. So they have to keep people buying, which is why they were giving out the enhanced unemployment benefits. All right, but because Americans are consumers. They always buy. That's why in the scriptures, in the book of Revelation, it says that the merchants of the earth shall mourn, because hey, they custom selling and making the money. All right, they're not going to be able to do that anymore. All right, so this is Revelation chapter 18 and verse 11. It says, and the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth their merchandise anymore. They're not going to have any, they can't buy, right? Because that basic income, not going to allow them to do anything but pretty much survive. Since back in the 70s and the 80s and 90s, it's just been a reduction in people's disposable income and their savings. They had to use their savings to survive. And of course, in the 90s, I went over this in previous videos that they had to take debt financing, just credit cards, all right, which interest rates help pay the debt, the American debt, all right. Basically, that all goes back to the elites, who pretty much own the Federal Reserve, all right, which own the Federal Reserve, is nothing federal about that, all right. So it's a wicked system. They own America, these elites own America, right, and they exercise the wickedness through the world via the central banking system, all right. So that's pretty much, the IMF, the World Bank, is run by these devils. All right. So the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth her merchandise anymore. All right. The merchandise of gold and silver and precious stones and of pearls and fine linen and purple and silk and scarlet and all thine wood and all manner of vessels of ivory and all manner of manner of vessels of most precious wood and of brass and iron and marble. So all these different things that America purchases, right? And cinnamon and odors and ointments and frankincense and oil and wine and oil and fine flour and wheat and beasts and sheep and horses and chariots and slaves, right? Because hey, we still slaves in the system, all right? We still slaves in the system, because your Apostle Gabar would have done a video on the birth certificate, and you realize once you sign that, you're a slave. When a woman signs that, she signs over a child to the state, which is run by who? The elites, the shadow government, all right? And the souls of men, and the fruits that thy soul lusted after departed from thee. All these things will depart from them, all right? Because they're not going to be able to purchase these things. And all things which were dainty and goodly are departed from thee, and thou shalt find them no more at all, all right? That's what's going on here, all right? The merchants of these things which were made rich by her shall stand afar off for the fear of her torment, weeping and wailing. So this is future prophecy here. The destruction, they're going to witness the destruction of Babylon, right, by ICBM nuclear fire and the chariots, all right? They're going to see it, via the TV screens and the internet, right? And saying, alas, alas, the great city that was clothed in fine linen and purple and scarlet and decked with gold and precious stones and pearl, which going back to watch the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. All right, that's what that going back to. Okay, for in 1 hour so great riches is come to naught, and every shipmaster and all the company in ships and sailors and as many as trade by sea stood far off and cried when they saw the smoke of her burning, right, saying, what city is like unto this great city? Because the Lord is bringing them down right now. That ship, the evergreen ship that stole, that's not by chance that happened, which has impacted the economy of America. All right, all the things that was a pass through to stimulate the economy to keep running, keep chugging like a train. All right, and they cast dust on their heads and cried, weeping and wailing, saying, alas, alas, that great city, wherein were made rich all that had ships in the sea, by reason of her costliness. For in 1 hour is she made desolate, right? She made desolate in 1 hour. That's what's set to happen here. All right, America is going to be laid bare, and laid out in 1 hour. That destruction going to come in 1 hour. It's only a matter of time, for that to happen. All right, so verse 20 say, rejoice over her, thou heaven, and ye holy apostles and prophets, for the Most High hath avenged you on her. So the Lord is going to avenge us on her, right? Because the Lord said, vengeance is mine, I will repay. So we don't try to do anything yourself. We had to wait on Yahweh Shai, right? That's what we're waiting on. So they have their plans. The elites have their plans, but really and truly, they're not. Things are not going to happen the way they plan it, all right? they're not going to be able to fill the belly, and now all the riches that they gather together, they're not going to be able to use it. All right, as the scripture say in in Job 22 and 25. All right, let me go there. Let me go to the book of Job, Job 22 and verse 25. It says, Yea, the Almighty shall be thy defense, and thou shalt have plenty of silver, says Jake. For then shalt thou have thy delight in the Almighty, and shall lift up thy face unto the Most High. All right, so we're gonna have. In fact, let me read. I should have read from verse 23. It says, If thou return to the Almighty, thou shalt be built up, and thou shalt put away iniquity far from thy tabernacle, which is what the tabernacle of David. Then thou shalt lay up coal as dust, and the coal of Ophir, which is America, as the stones of the brooks. Because the kingdom, the streets are going to be built of gold. All right, and guess who's going to build it? Esau, Edom, right? Yea, the Almighty shall be thy defense, and thou shalt have plenty of silver. So the Lord is going to give us these things. All right, the same wealth that they gathered up, we're going to use it. This is Zechariah chapter 14 and verse 14. It says, And Judah also shall fight at Jerusalem, and the wealth of all the heathen round about shall be gathered together, gold and silver and apparel in great abundance. Right? So we're gonna inherit all this gold that they're storing up, that they're storing up, because they don't understand, all the wisdom that the Most High gave them. And yes, it was the Most High who gave them that wisdom, right? Because the deceiver and the deceiver are his, and the Lord did this to establish his purpose. All right, so this is Jeremiah chapter 49 and verse 7. It says, Concerning Edom, thus saith Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua of hosts, is wisdom no more in Teman? Is counsel perish from the prudent? Yeah, because they say, scripture say they're wiser than Daniel, but now the Lord is drying up the wisdom. The wealth is transferred to Jake, and that's not just the wealth in terms of money, but the wealth in terms of wisdom. And according to the scriptures, Isaiah 33 and 6, wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of our times. The fear of the Lord is his treasure. So the fear of the Lord is our treasure, and based on our fear, and also being Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, we're going to get all that wisdom that they are losing. All right? We're going to be filled with that wisdom and understanding. All right? So not only monetary wealth, but also intellectual wealth we're going to be getting, and we're getting right now. All right? Because the cup is passing. All right? Verse 8 say, Flee ye, turn back, dwell deep, O inhabitants of Dedan, for I will bring the calamity of Esau upon him, the time that I will visit him. All right? If grape growers come to thee, would they have not left some gleaning grapes? If thieves by night, they will destroy till they have enough. Yeah, Obadiah, there's a precept to this too. Because Esau is so greedy, they want everything. And just like the dog with the bone looked in the water in its reflection and dropped the bone into the water, thinking that he could catch the bone in the reflection, because it was bigger than his own. Right? The same way he lost everything, the same way Esau is going to lose everything. He's going to lose everything. All right? Verse 10 say, But I have made Esau bare, I have uncovered his secret places. He shall not be able to hide himself. His seed is spoiled, and his brethren and his neighbors, and he is not. Right? He's not, because why? The Lord's taking him down. All right? That's prophecy, and every word of the Lord will come to pass. Isaiah 55 and 6. The word of the Lord is not going to go out void, roughly paraphrasing. So this is James 5 and 1. It says, Go to now, ye rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you. Your riches are corrupted, and your garments are moth-eaten. Your whole system coming down. All right? Your gold and silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you, and shall eat your flesh as it were fire. All right? And that fire is going to be from the ICBM missiles and the chariots. All right? And it's going to be taken out, and eventually Esau, Edom is going to be destroyed, according to Obadiah 1 and 18, by Judah and Israel, which is the 12 tribes. All right? So, so Esau system, it's done for. All right? The Lord has measured, he's already measured Babylon, as the altar for his great sacrifice. His great sacrifice in Bozrah, according to Isaiah 62 chapter, and just as Daniel said, says Daniel was watching the collapse of the Babylonian Empire. All right, the same way we're going to watch the collapse of this revised Roman Empire, right? This Babylon the Great. In just a matter of time, we're going to be watching and seeing everything, the whole collapse. And we see, right now, we see the writing on the wall. Just as Daniel saw the writing back then. This Daniel 5 and verse 26. It reads, this, actually, let me read from verse 25. It says, and this is the writing that was written. Many, many tekel upasin. This is the interpretation of the thing. Many. The Most High had numbered thy kingdom and finished it. Alright, so Babylon is finished. Tekel, thou art weighed in the balances and found wanting here because they have a false balance, which is an abomination unto the Lord. Right? Perez, thy kingdom is divided and given to the Medes and the Persians. And if you understand the Medes now, it's gonna be Russia who's gonna destroy them. Alright, in this time. Alright. Then commanded Balthazar, and they clothed Daniel, so they're going into something else, but that's the end for you. Alright, your kingdom divided, and no kingdom divided upon itself could stand. Alright, this is the end. So Yahweh Hashem Yahushai told us to watch and pray, which is what we do in Tree Spirit and Power of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. We're gonna watch and pray, and we're gonna witness the signs, of the Lord taking out this place. This is Mark 13, and this goes into Trinidad and Tobago where we are now. The same thing is happening here. But Trinidad and Tobago are going to get the same punishment as Babylon, right, for its wickedness. Right, this is Mark 13 and 33. It says, take heed, take heed, be aware, be circumspect, watch and pray, for you know not when the time is. So we had to keep on watching and praying, keep on circumspect in the spirit, all right, and looking at the prophecies, meditating on the prophecies for when this devil is going to be taken out. So with that, I pray that this lesson has been edifying. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, Hashem Rakakodash, Wa Abad Babal, Shalom, on to the next one.